All right. Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk about a subject that I think is important moving forward, and that is who you build your websites for, or who you build applications for. And I think that this is going to change drastically now. I think it already has, and we are moving towards that at an increasing speed. And traditionally, a lot of people built websites or applications for other people. So they think about how does the screen look? How is this all crafted? What is the user experience? What is sticky? And it was a lot more about how do you attract a person to interact with this product as opposed to, okay, as opposed to doing something that is more beneficial from the scale of like information moving around. What do I mean? So reviewing things, putting up information online, creating videos, creating Reddit posts, whatever it is that you are trying to do online. We used to have to do this like manually. Okay, I needed to give some permissions here. We had to do this manually, and now we have systems that are able to do 10,000 posts a minute. They can make 50 videos in the span of a few minutes and upload them to YouTube, and that changes the nature of how we are supposed to build our products. Right? On one hand, we don't want people to feel like they cannot compete in an environment that is digital. We would rather them be able to compete, and we would rather them be able to interact with the environment, interact with uh, the the world in a meaningful way, get them to meet each other, get them to work with each other, and we want them to know that when they post a project or they post a post, they put up a blog, they put up a video that other people are watching it. That's more meaningful than a bot watching your content. And then on the other hand, we don't want to slow each other down because let's say we want all of the books that have ever been written uploaded and stored on a person like on a open website that anybody can access legally, of course. But let's say we want to do that. And are we going to build out UIs for people to go and do this? Like, is a person going to come in and upload their book? How long is it going to take to get all of the books in history uploaded onto this website? I don't think it would be reasonable. I don't think it would be possible or useful to build out a website for doing this, unless it's something that is extremely difficult to get online. And this is where things start to mix up. So I work with a lot of people who are building products. I know a lot of people who are building products, they're founders, and I see that a lot of websites are still optimizing for humans to access them. And while that's helpful if you're building something that is like user facing, that is nice, but if you're building a data dashboard, if you're building a blog site, if you're building any kind of documentation site, you want to optimize first and foremost for AI, because as you can see here, people are going to be interacting with their computer not through all of the stuff that's being made by other people, but through a single agent or a single entity, let's say, like, or a single piece of electronics that is going to port them over to all of the other stuff. Like, I don't want to relearn how to do Control Z, Control A, Control C, Control V every time I go onto a new like application or a new website. I don't want to have my profile in like 50 different places. I'd rather just have one thing that I communicate with that is capable of then propagating that all the way forward. And I think that a lot of the technology that exists as of now is limiting for this, because what I want to do is I want to automate my tax returns. I want to do my tax returns. I have all my invoices. I have all my banks logged in. There's no reason that Claude can't go in, take all of that, organize it, put it in a list, and then upload it to the website for tax returns, the IRS sites. There's no reason that this shouldn't be possible, but it is not possible right now, or it is extremely difficult and counterproductive because we don't build our sites around this. And so you could see here that, like, for example, uploading an image to this website. Now I upload and yeah, I have to upload or I can't really move on. And so what am I supposed to do? I'm just going to put it up here and I will try to continue. But Claude can't really move past this point because it can't upload an image, right? It doesn't have the right ability to do this, and it kind of falls apart. Or it's extremely slow, or it requires my input and requires me to go onto this site. And this is slowing us down in general because information needs to move at a very free pace. And now we have technology that is able to non-deterministically make its way through challenges and mazes and problems. And our job is to open the floodgates and make sure that the infrastructure exists that allows these things to interact with the world for us in a productive way. I would rather not have to manage my own linear board. I don't want to manage my own tasks. I think that most of what I do is pretty easy to figure out. So why is it that I have to do it myself? Why can't I open a task and then have that task be sent over to another like executor agent, have that be done? The reason we can't do that right now is because there's just too many hops and too many things getting in the way and too little visibility as to what these things are doing, what kind of mistakes that they're making. We have traditionally always built for people that are able to find their way around problems when they get to them. Much easier. We've also built for bots, and that has caused us to like stop updating infrastructure architecture too much because every time we do, then the bots get stuck. So let's see. Sure, go ahead. And we can see here that this is all possible, and this is very impressive to me that it can do this. Um, Now, what UIs have done this well, I think this is important. So a lot of the current IDEs have done this better than most. Because these IDEs have always been about figuring out how to automate like even micro miniature things. They've exposed all these tools. It's a file system. There is like data involved with it that is accessible. It is easy, like very well documented. And it's always been in like it has always had automation and tweaking and tinkering in mind, which is important here because this is a challenge that these companies have always had to deal with. I think a lot of these chat apps are now improving drastically, but I still think that they are very limited in that they still don't have everything that they need open to them. Browsers have done this pretty well, so you can use browsers to interact. So you can have an AI inside of your browser, and it can usually figure its way around. But there's just so much context, and so this is another thing that we need to start building for moving forward. Is if our pipelines and our architecture does not support an LLM being able to scan over it, get everything that it needs packaged properly in as little tokens as humanly possible, then we are failing. Because if I build a database and I want to get very custom niche insights like what users are using this the most on what days and how are they related to each other and what are they doing online, this is all data an LLM can get without having to pre-program it. However, what ends up happening is you send it on to the browser and then it pulls in data from the browser, and then it gets all this stuff that isn't important for it, that isn't relevant, that's polluting the context window. And so unless we build these tools very specifically with the thought in mind that, hey, some machine is going to scan over it, and we should try to take up as little tokens as possible so that this machine can continue on its path, continue on its journey, then we will be succeeding. And I think where you see this most prominently is, again, going back to these CLI tools specifically, I would say even more than the IDEs, is they're thinking with this in mind. How can we build a system that is very good at managing its context, traversing the world, documenting it, and making sure that it doesn't do too much damage, right? Because if it goes rogue, if it gets dependency injected, not dependency injections, prompt injections, then it will fall apart. And it could damage you. So I think these tools are doing really well, and I think they will make a huge difference. Now, I want to go over one last thing before I head out, which is what does this mean for the future of work? Because I have, on a day-to-day basis, I have colleagues or clients or whatever it is asking me questions that I know Claude can solve within 2 minutes. The only difference between me solving it and Claude solving it is that sometimes somebody has to be there to remove these little pitfalls that the models can fall into and not recover from. For example, uploading an image to a database, right? That is a big problem that it can't solve on its own. So it needs me to come and fix it. And so that's the only thing that's a difference between me and Claude. This is outside of code, right? This is, let's create a spreadsheet, let's send emails, let's scrape a website, let's go into a bank and figure out how much you're spending, whatever. This is the work that most people do on a day-to-day basis, regardless of what industry they're working in, as long as it's not physical. They are putting data in and getting data out and then turning that into reports and then demonstrating that. That's essentially all work is on the digital front. So what is the difference between me and Claude? Not much, except that I can sometimes like click a button that it can't, or that I know how to put a credit card on a website. This stuff could be automated right now, but it's like you're building thousands and thousands and thousands of these like little edge case functionalities that then kind of destroy the system, which is why we need to, again, open it up. What this means for the future of work is that your job needs to become orchestrating. It cannot be doing the thing. Doing the thing is the most worthless and least important thing that you can do right now, whether that is coding. And I'm talking from a strict business sense. I think there's a huge space in the world for people that are doing things out of passion, for artisans, for very skilled individuals who make very high quality stuff. I think that it will always be there, and that will only get more and more valuable as time goes along. But I think there will be this separation that started like 3 years ago between people that do this because they love it and people that do this because it is a means to an end, which is having, let's say, a background picture on a blog post so that you can post it on Twitter. Like the utility is getting extremely separated from the art itself, right? And the utility now is all automated. Anything that exists out there right now could be automated to some level, and it just requires an orchestrator who is capable of managing many of these automations. And I think that's where the future is heading. So I would love to see like the people that I work with, the people that I respect, the products that I like, see them start building their applications, not just shoving AI in there, but having it open to AI. Because if we can open these floodgates, then things are going to accelerate at an extreme degree. I really do think so. Information is going to move much more freely, and it'll be way easier to get to technological advancements, get to improvements in people's lifestyles, get to improvements in education. But until we can open it up and make the flow of information free, we are kind of stuck having to just like click buttons all the time. I hope that makes sense. I think this is very related to a conversation that I had with Shaw, who is the founder of Eliza. Eliza is this agent orchestration system. They haven't paid me or anything. This is just like, I know that these people are at least 6 months to 1 year ahead of the game. And I think Shaw specifically is like maybe 2 years ahead of the game constantly. He's always built stuff that is like just way before where we are. I think he was the first person that developed skills in a public platform. And it was 2 years before Anthropic came out with skills. Now, I just want to end this video on saying that I think these are things that we need to think about, whether we are building like hobby websites, hobby applications, hobby art, how we are building our future of work, because as you can see here, this is just all automatable. And I don't think this has any more importance or weight or value besides knowing how to operate the tools.